We are commissioned by Christ to be his people, to belong to this people of faith who move together with confidence and with the surety of his presence and his love for us. And we're nurtured as we come together to celebrate Eucharist. The church teaches us that the Eucharist is the source and summit of our life as members of his body, and that the church is most completely and most fully who it's called to be as we gather around the table. And as that beautiful last slide just showed us, the table represents the altar of Christ's sacrifice. And so we talk a little bit about reverencing the altar because it's a sign of the presence of Christ given for us. And it's a reminder to us of the glory that we are called to, but also of the commission that we have received, that we are to be the sign of God's presence in our world, that the compassion and the love and the caring that we have, and that the evil that we endure or absorb and not pass on to others, these are all wonderful ways in which God's kingdom is unfolding. Bishop Sheen used to say we're called to absorb evil in our world. And boy, that's a really hard thing to do because we don't want to turn the other cheek. We don't want to go the extra mile. We want to stand on our own 2 feet, and we want to hurt back when we are hurt. In fact, Jesus says we should bless our enemies and pray for them. And we should always strive to think the best. I don't know about you, but that's the hardest one for me. Think the best of others rather than the worst, which is kind of our default position so often. And the strength to do that comes from the healing and the nourishment that we receive in the Eucharist. The single most important thing that we do. I had the opportunity yesterday to join the Daily Mass crew here. And I was very impressed with the 30 people or so who were here. You know, those people, and you are some of them I know, come together every day to pray for the parish, pray for the needs of the community, to continue that process of being sent out. We all do it every week when we come to celebrate Mass together. We receive the presence of Christ, and we are sent out by that presence to care for others, to be the sign of God's love in our world. It's all the unfolding of the Paschal mystery. And if we need strength when the going gets rough, we know that the Lord is always here, sending us out, blessing us, encouraging us to bring the word to all the nations. Galilee kind of represents all the nations in the gospel, because Galilee was the place north of Jerusalem where so many of the world travelers at that time were passing through. In fact, remember Capernaum, the place where Jesus set up his home base after he left Nazareth. Archaeologists have recently discovered that Capernaum wasn't just a little sleepy town on the Sea of Galilee. In fact, it was where the 2 major highways of the day intersected. We call them interstate highways today. The Via Maris, which ran around, the Romans built this road around the Mediterranean Sea, and the King's Highway that ran north and south from Egypt to Damascus and Syria. And it wasn't by accident that Jesus set up his ministry there, because at the intersection of those 2 highways, all kinds of people from all over the world intersected with his life. And remember when he appeared after the resurrection, he said, told Mary Magdalene to tell the apostles, I go before them into Galilee, and there they will find me. Well, we find him in the Galilee, that is the world around us, not Jerusalem, but in Galilee. He is interacting with us in our neighborhoods, in our places of work, in our school, in our network of relationships, and in our families. He is there working with us and through us, that we might all have life in its fullest. So consider yourself commissioned and sent, as well as nourished and healed and affirmed every time we celebrate the Holy